this is Nick, and we're with NV Board Gaming, and today we're going to take a look at Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. This is a 1 to 4 player game by Ignacy Trzewiczek and Joanna Kijanka. It's published by Portal Games. Nick is going to give an overview of how to play, and then we'll give you our review.
All right, let's go over how to play Empires of the North, or what we're doing at least in this game. So we're here for a 2-player game. We have 2 different factions. The game comes with 6 factions. They're all very unique. What we're going to be doing is playing these cards. They have different actions we can do on them. So there's phases. The lookout phase is the first thing we do. We draw 4 cards, and we decide which ones to keep. Whatever we keep, we put these workers out. So for every card we keep, we put these workers out. So let's say I kept all 4. That means I only have 1 worker left. And Vik's going to do her action. We start with these fields out here. So right away we're going to have some resources. You notice I have them already here. That's because these fields already produce those at the beginning of the game. They're never going to produce again unless we do an action to produce them. So we have some actions over here as well that we're going to do during the game. So this game really goes back and forth. Once we're done with the lookout phase, we do our main actions. So I can do 1 action, then Vik will do an action, and so forth. And let's say I want to do an action from my hand, and if you can see these, they have how to do them at the top, so I can just spend a stone to build that. I do have 2 stone, so I could build that. And for the rest of the game, this will be in my tableau, and I'll have this action. All right, let me bring it down. There you go. I have this action to spend a wood and an apple to gain 2 victory points and retrieve a worker. So the whole goal of the game is to get victory points. It'll be triggered, the end of the game will be triggered once we hit this 25 spot on the board right there. And then we'll add up victory points. You get 1 victory point for every location on your board. You get a victory point for your coin. If you get coins, I have some coins over here. And every 2 of your resources at the end of the game. So you're just building out cards out here. Those are the build actions. And you also have this. This is actually variable, so we shuffle all these and just place them out. So every game will be a little different usually. Let's see. You have a construct, so there's a way to build. If I didn't have the resources to build this, for instance, I can go to the construct action with one of my pawns. We get 2 of them. This side, if it's face up, that means I could potentially do another action and move it to adjacent spot. So the construct action, if I did that, I would build this for free. I won't have to pay for the stone. It goes out here, giving me an action that I can do on another turn. And I could, let's say on my other turn, once Vik is done, I could, let's say, sail. So sail is another action. I can take a boat and put it at the top, or as far as the top as I can go. Maybe Vik did a sail action, so she'd be at first priority. Because the very next phase, we'll do an expedition phase, which I'll go over. Another action we can do is draw a card here. That's called explore. Populate is to add a worker. It won't go to spent, it will go to your supply. So I could populate, I could harvest, which is any one of these cards I can build, so I can get 2 stone if I want to harvest this one. And those are the actions out here. So you're doing actions here, you're doing actions on your cards. You know, we're going to get more actions because we're placing more cards out. So now I have this action available to me. Once I take it, I exhaust it, turn it 90 degrees. And again, this is really quick. We're going back and forth. Once we're done with all the actions we want to do, we then go to the expedition phase where we will resolve in order of who's on the top of this track. So in this case, this is my faction ship. I was first, and maybe Vik put out here in a second. We can go to the nearby islands and either pillage or conquer. You have to decide when I had that ship action over here, the sail action, I have to decide if I want to go to a distant island. You'll notice it costs fish. So if I want to go to a distant island, I had to decide that when I did that. Also, if I wanted to do the conquer action, which is pretty good at the beginning of the game because it gives you ongoing abilities and it's a location added to your tableau, so it'd obviously be a victory point as well at the end of the game. You could conquer, but you need one of these raise tokens right here. Let's see, there we go. So you have to decide at that point, what do you want to put on this? If you put nothing on it at all, we know that you're going to pillage over here because this doesn't require any additional resources. You just sail to a nearby island and you can pillage for these items here. So for instance, this one will give you right away 2 apples and a victory point. However, if I would have put a raise token on it, I could have chose this and have an ongoing action to spend, spend a stone to unexhaust. Remember, because I said it can at 90-degree exhausted, you can unexhaust it. That means you can use that ability once more this round. Plus, you get a building bonus right away of an apple and a stone. So that's pretty good. And once that's done, we do another round. The game's going to keep going until we hit 25 victory points. Then we'll do the additional victory points that I mentioned earlier and see who the winner is. And that's pretty much how you play this game. Hey, welcome back. We're here for our thoughts and review of Empires of the North, an Imperial Settlers game by Portal. I'm going to score this one an 8.4. Which is really good because it actually was, when I first played it, it was a 7. It was an even 7, and it grew on me. And it wasn't because of how I did. I felt like it ran smoother as we played it. It was a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. So I remember when we did the review for 51st State, I mentioned that this had a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
and you can pick that up when we played it again. So I'm interested to see what Vik scores it as compared, because I remember you gave that one a 9.0. So I don't know if this one would surpass it. For me, it does very slightly. I think 8.2 was what I scored 51st State. And I scored this 8.4, had upped the rating quite a bit after we played it 3 more times. We tried every faction. So there's 6 factions in the game. We each tried once, so we get a decent feel of what's going on with all of them. So I'd like to say positives, negatives. Positives, first, my favorite part of the game are these, that they change orientation, so they're not always going to be the same. Because when you do one of these actions, when you assign it, because it's like a little wheel, and when you assign one, you can only, if you spend an apple, you can go to the adjacent action. So they won't just be every time you play, if you do a harvest, you're going to be able to do a free construct after that. We don't necessarily know that. So I think that's a really cool idea. It's something to always fall back on, because you could have a max of 4 of those pawns that move out if you spend the apples for them. So you always have that to fall back on in case you don't have the resources to build. You always have options. Very cool. I like that a lot. Another thing I like, well, let's see. I mean, it depends really how you look at this game, because if you like having a faction that is really specific in a different thing, unlike 51st State where you can go your own route, you can build that way as the game goes on. This way, playing like this where factions are all different, quite different, it really isn't like that, because you have your deck of cards. This is your deck of cards. We're not drafting from each other's deck, unlike 51st State where it's just one common deck. It's like, this is what I want to do. I want to go for deals or whatever. This isn't like that in that regard. So really it's your own preference. I like 51st State's way of doing that a little bit better. But overall, I like this one. The art's better to me. It's even faster than 51st State. I said how fast 51st State was.
Yeah.
I think this is a little faster. So yeah, you can one action can just be spend a fish, get a VP, and that's done. Now it's Vik's turn. What do you score, Vik? I'm curious. Is it better or worse?
I get 8.1. 8.1, not quite the 9.0 that I gave 51st State. I don't know why. I don't know why it didn't score as high. For me, I love the art. Like you said, it's really cute. It is cuter than 51st State. It's not a cute game whatsoever. But I guess for me, maybe it's because I haven't really won.
It could be.
I don't know. I don't want to say that for sure. I mean, I still enjoy the game. I love the speed of it. I love how quick we can get through actions. And I do like how you can, you can choose to keep building cards, or you can just work with what you have on the tableau. Like the game isn't just continuously putting down cards. You can start to build good if you make good decisions. I think in the onset you can be rewarded by that, but it's not like you can't redeem yourself later on if you do get some cards because of the way that they come up on the deck, and the fact that you have a choice in them when you're deciding how many workers you want to spend to have those cards in your hand. So it is good to have that for sure.
I think all the actions that I showed in that wheel are all really powerful. There's none that are like, oh, that's garbage. At first we thought maybe the construct was, but then we realized it doesn't necessarily have to have that constructability on the card. It's to build anything. Anything that has a build that normally you pay resources for, you can construct for free. So everything out there, all 5 of those actions had a purpose, and it's clever.
And for people, I think, that like to take that, there is a mechanism that you can disable somebody's card. You can raid it with a...
Oh, guess who did that and who didn't?
Yeah, I'm always the one who says on the onset that we're not going to do that, and then I am the first person to take that.
It reminds me of like hockey, where the team that gets the most hits, it doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah,
Like, it could be like a totally offside,
yeah.
40-10. 40-10 hits, and the other team won 5-0. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So that's like that. So it might help you, might not. Obviously, if somebody is really exploiting something, that'd be a good idea to raid it right away.
Yeah, for sure.
But we never did that like right away, raiding that right away. It wasn't like that. It was just that she had the raid tokens, and now I'm going to spend them.
I didn't know what else to do. It is interesting, the different factions. I do notice a difference in the play style of each deck, because each faction has its own deck. So they are different cards that have different abilities, and things will come up. There's rarity involved too. Some cards, you can, right on the onset, there's a snowball depiction that you can know right away, like how many instances of this card are there in the deck, and act accordingly. If you think, oh, this, I'm not going to get this back, but you do end up shuffling back your deck. You mentioned the discard, they're not lost forever.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't really run into that.
We didn't get that far.
We tended to add up VP, and it would hit 25 before we had to shuffle. I was really close. I had 2 cards left in one of the games, but I never had to actually shuffle. But I imagine if you do a lot of explore actions where you can keep drawing cards, then maybe you will bleed through it a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's nice to not have a hand limit either. You can keep taking on cards as long as you have the workers to pay for them, or you're going to use the explore action. You can keep as many cards as you want in your hand. So I do like that too. Where 51st State, you do have a hand limit, right? Or there's something, I don't know.
You're asking questions. I don't know. We play so many games. It's hard to reference like a rule of the game. It's like okay if you say so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else you want to say on this one, Vic?
I would recommend it for people who are new to games. I think it's not that complicated. It could be the bridge game. It could be a perfect bridge game, from a very basic game all the way to something that is a little bit more complex. If you wanted to try to get a game group into the more complex games, I think that the game is easy to learn. I don't think it's... there are handy reference on the back of what they mean when they say words like assign, and when they say that you can release somebody. It's all explained there, so it's really not difficult in that regard. Okay,
and one last comment. I'm not sure about the balancing. I'm going to trust that Untitled Chapter, he's a very well-known designer, very good Polish designer. I'm going to say he play tested the hell out of this game, but the plays I've had, I noticed there's one faction. And it's pretty cool, though. I'll say that. I'm going to show you something real quick. I like that. When games do it, like Spirit Island does it as well. As far as they give you a graph of complexity. Is it on this? It is.
Yeah.
So, clan overview. It shows how complex 1 through 8, I believe. Yeah. 1 through 8, how complex those are at the bottom where it says clan overview. So, that's cool. If you want to just jump in the game, you take the 1. You take the 1 complexity and learn from that one. To me, the 1 and 3, there was no difference. As far as complexity, I didn't notice. I actually had more questions with the 1 than I did the 3.
Yeah.
I was like, what does that word mean again? But so my nitpick was that the 8 on there, the most advanced, supposedly, it's not advanced. It's the best one. To me, I was scoring points way faster than any other ones I scored. That was the first game I played. I'm like, am I playing this wrong? Possibly.
Yeah, things got out of hand, Nick.
So that one, it seemed OP if you were playing the engine right, and it seemed like my engine was actually easier to build with the most complex one than it was this rinky-dink one where it's like trade a fish for a VP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is funny how that worked out.
It's a recommendation for me for sure. 8.4. Anything in the 8s is a recommendation. Just know that. Recommendation. You said recommendation.
I would say so.
All right.
Well, if you have played 51st State or you've played Empires of the North, maybe you could let us know in the comment section below what your favorite between the two is, or if you have a different tableau building game that you enjoy laying out cards and building your own engine. Let us know in the comments below if you do have a game of choice or something you recommend that we check out. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you click the bell button, you will get notified when we post, and we do new videos twice weekly. So we appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.